Martial arts masters exposed as total frauds. Have you ever thought that those martial arts masters you see online are super skilled? Like how impressive they are? Well, get ready to be surprised. More shocked, but that's what we're here for. Today, we're exposing some of these masters who are nothing but fakes. Yes, that's right. But before we spill the beans, don't forget to hit subscribe and ring that bell icon. You don't want to miss out. Let's get started. First up, we have a face-off between a Tai Chi master and a newbie. The Tai Chi master appears confident. He performs elaborately but pretty ineffective moves. Seems like he's having some difficulty in getting a control of what's happening. On the other side, the newbie remains calm. He's effective and gets in some good punches, and eventually he intensifies his attacks, delivering his knees to the Tai Chi master's body and face. Pretty soon, the Tai Chi master reaches his breaking point and decides to end the fight. It's clear that the master here has not been in many fights. He gave one of the weakest fights ever. It must be a humbling moment for the supposed master. Next, we have a supposed karate black belt. It's the small shirtless guy here, but let's not assume things. The other guy here is just a stranger who decided to take up a challenge. They both start with some really weird actions and gestures. Pretty cringy, but okay. After that weirdness is over, the fight begins. It really is a stretch to call it a fight. The karate master here tries to start off with a strong, good kick there, but not near enough to anything that can subdue the opponent. The other guy starts throwing in a lot of punches that seem to overwhelm Mr. Karate. And finally, a punch and kick to Mr. Karate's face ends the fight. The black belt's looking pretty useless right now. That's if he had one to begin with. Then we have here another shirtless guy. Well, a self-proclaimed kung fu master to be precise. The fight's against a random challenger who decided to do something new to make his day fun. As the fight started, the kung fu master did something very questionable. He carelessly turns his back to his opponent, leaving himself vulnerable. And why would someone not take an opportunity that was handed to them on a silver platter? He runs behind him and slams him to the ground not once, but twice. The kung fu master is left stunned on the ground. Must have been tough being beaten by a random person. The stakes were pretty high, and so was his exposing. Here we have a match, MMA student versus renowned Chinese Wing Chun master. As the bell rings, tensions are high in the ring. There's a lot to prove for the student, and he starts out strong, throwing in punches after punches. He seems to be getting in good control. The interesting thing to notice here is that the master looks a little unbothered. He's only interested in how he looks, trying to pose as if he's in the start of a movie. Big mistake to make in the ring. The MMA fighter takes all the chances he gets and overpowers the master, ultimately getting a win in this match. Overconfidence is always a problem, guys. Next up is a match between a 54-year-old master and an MMA fighter. Looking at his age and the confidence he's showing when he enters, you would expect a lot from him. Spoiler alert, you're about to be disappointed. The match starts off with the crowd cheering for the master. As the bell rings and the fight starts, the master shows some pretty professional stance in the ring. But that was all it was, the pose. All sizzle and no steak. The master strikes first, trying to kick the opponent, but funnily enough, he falls down without any counteraction. Hopes for his win started going down from this moment on. He gets up, tries to throw punches and kicks, but the fighter dodges all of the attempts, and then it's his turn. The MMA fighter goes all out with the attacks and ultimately knocks out the master completely. Next, we have a jiu-jitsu fighter facing an apparent martial arts master. Has to be entertaining, right? Let's see. The yellow guy here, the one dancing as the fight's about to start, is the master here. Or should we say trickster? There's one thing we should talk about. Someone who's dancing when he's about to get into a fight in a professional setting is either amazing at what they do or are stupid enough to think it's a good idea. Let's see what's the case here. The yellow guy tries to start things off with a kick against his opponent, but he fails at that, and that's pretty much the only chance he got. The jiu-jitsu fighter punches and kicks him, backing him against a wall and taking him down. He continues to hold him down and lock him. After a lot of tries to get out, the yellow guy, our supposed master, gives up. He had that coming. Oh boy, buckle up for this one. Knockout King, or Dillman, had us all invested in his extraordinary statements. Apparently, he possessed the ability to knock out opponents without even physically touching them. Yes, you heard that right. The power of his chi energy was enough to make others unconscious. Like we said, extraordinary. So National Geographic decides that they should put these claims to test, and they brought in a volunteer who was ready to face this mysterious power. That was pretty fearless. The day of this ultimate test came. The setting was tense, the anticipation rising. Dillman stood confidently, bringing in all the chi energy he would need here. And what do you know? It didn't work. He took multiple attempts to tap into his power or energy, whatever. The volunteer remained standing tall, not even a hint of dizziness. National Geographic wasn't impressed, and frankly, neither were we. Meet Gus Caparros, the man who claims to have mastered Muay Thai. He invented his very own martial art called Green Cloud. Here, Gus steps into the ring with confidence, ready for a challenge. But oh boy, does he underestimate his opponent. As soon as the fight starts, we see Gus desperately trying to cover and protect himself. Every time his opponent lands a punch or kick, Gus tucks himself. The way he entered, we all expected a hell of a fight from him. But here's the thing, Gus does not counter or retaliate. With each passing minute, the chances of his comeback in the fight were going down. Disappointing as it may be, but his defense is weak. In fact, it's bordering on non-existent. His opponent's getting it easy, landing hit after hit, and by the end of it, Gus leaves the ring defeated. It really put a big question mark on his mastery, and on Green Cloud. Now, here we witness the grand challenge between self-proclaimed Chi Master Ryokan Yanagi and MMA fighter Tsuyoshi Yakude. The stage is set for a high-stakes fight. It was supposed to be a show of no-touch knockout abilities. The other thing that made it high stakes was that Yanagi offered a challenge of $5,000 that he could beat Yakude. So there was respect and money both riding on this game for Yanagi. Ryokan confidently steps forward, ready to amaze us all. Everyone's eager to watch this magical knockout. But that wasn't to be that easy. How could it be? Here comes Tsuyoshi Yakude with a fiery determination to put an end to these claims. Let's see how things are going to go now. As Ryokan raises his hands, trying to channel his energy, Tsuyoshi lunges forward and takes this opportunity to launch his attack, and he continues with that same energy, punch after punch, kick after kick. He gives Ryokan no chance to get back in the game, ultimately securing a win. Ryokan is left shocked. He's unable to comprehend what just happened. Well, we can see why he's confused. He was counting on that energy being there. Sucks for him. Here we have an intense fight between a Kung Fu master and Morrison Butler. The intensity started when Morrison started to give advice to this master regarding his teaching methods. Seems thoughtful enough, but this master didn't think so. He was offended by Morrison's attempt at demeaning him. But then came the fight. To prove who's legit, who knows what he's talking about? All that aggression and confidence, you'd think this would be exciting to watch. Well, we wouldn't say that, in all honesty. As soon as the fight started, this Kung Fu master lost his ground. Not entirely yet, but he's clearly struggling. He tries to strike, but repeatedly misses the mark. Meanwhile, Morrison's counterattacks are hitting the targets. Every time he's attacked or he misses, his frustration is growing, and then, soon enough, Morrison takes an opportunity to take the fight to the ground, displaying his superiority. Once on the ground, things get worse for Mr. Kung Fu. His attempts to escape or counter are meaningless at this point. Morrison completely owns the fight now, and as we could expect, Morrison bagged a win here. He showed that he knew what he was talking about, and that it would have hurt less to Mr. Kung Fu in taking the advice. And at last, we have an amazing Kung Fu master. Let's see how this fight goes. As the match starts, they engage in a brawl, but it takes no time until it becomes clear that the master here is something of a character. He struggles to land a punch. He struggles to counter his opponent's attacks. Basically, he struggles throughout. The opponent soon lands 2 successful hooks, and the master drops to the ground. But he obviously couldn't go out that easily. He quickly gets back up and gets back into the game. More like tried to. He's once again defeated by his opponent's swift hook. Each hit took something out of his reputation. And to end things in the worst way possible for this master, the opponent lands 2 punches directly to his face, and he was completely knocked out. Now that we've exposed these so-called martial arts masters, it's your turn to be the judge. Who was the worst one? Dive into the comments and let us know. And don't forget to hit the subscribe button and like this video for more interesting content like this. Until next time, stay real.